What's good with the fight fans, man? It's Kijana back with another fight card prediction. UFC on ESPN 28, Strickland versus Hall. It's gonna be a banger. That seems like it's my go-to thing to say. It's gonna be a banger, but yeah, it is actually gonna be a really good main event. The overall card looks like it was just tossed together the night of. It doesn't really look like a really great card. There's a few fights on there that I wouldn't mind watching, but I probably won't be watching too many of these ones this weekend. It just seems like there's a few debuters that are fighting this weekend. There's some fights that were supposed to be on last weekend's card that are on this one. And there's just a whole lot of no names, a lot of people that probably, in my own opinion, shouldn't even be in the UFC. They need to go through their roster again and clear a few people out. But yeah, this is gonna be my main card fight predictions. So let's talk about it. First fight. I think there's like 15 fights total on this shit too. There's like 8 or 9 fucking prelim fights. But anyways, I'm getting distracted. First fight is Barbarina versus Jason Witt. I'm gonna roll with Barbarina. I don't want to think too much about this one. Jason Witt is a plus 200 or plus 215 right now. He probably will end up being a close to a plus 250, maybe plus 300 by the end of the week. Barbarina is really tough. He can take a fucking shot. He can give a shot. His stand-up's pretty fucking good. Actually, I take that back. His stand-up's pretty fucking average. But the dude hits hard. He can take a punch. He has 10 KOs. He'll take one to give you one. So I mean, the dude's he's fought pretty good opponents in there too. He's got 2 KO losses, 4 decision losses. He did beat Anthony Ivy in his last fight by UD. Lost to Randy Brown by TKO. Lost to Vicente Luque by TKO. He took a ton of punishment in that fight versus Vicente Luque. Leon Edwards by UD. I mean, all these people that he's fought and they're all great opponents. Colby Covington by UD. Chad Laprise by UD. Laprise is all right. Warley Alves he beat. Jake Ellenberger he TKO'd. So I mean, he beats average fighters, but then when it comes to fighters that are probably going to be in the top 10, top 15-ish, he usually ends up losing. He's fighting a guy, Jason Witt, 18-7. He's more of a wrestler. He's probably going to want to get this fight to the ground because Barbarina's going to want to stand in the pocket and just fucking throw bombs. That's what he does. Jason Witt has 3 KO wins, 8 submission wins, 5 KO losses. I've said this in previous videos. I will never, actually I take that back. I'm not going to say never, but for the most part, 90% of the time, I will not pick a fighter who's been KO'd more than 2 to 3 times. I just can't do it. I can't trust their chin. It makes me wonder what kind of brain damage that they have. It makes me wonder what kind of defense they're working on. Yeah, if you've been KO, or people that have a shitload of cauliflower ear that aren't wrestlers, that wrestling really isn't in their like arsenal too much, then it makes me wonder, okay, this guy probably gets hit a lot, doesn't have the greatest head movement, just doesn't have good boxing fundamentals and defensive, they don't slip punches, shit like that. And Jason Witt, I don't know, man. 5 KO/TKO losses is a lot, dude. He lost to Matthew Semmelsberger by KO. It was a pretty vicious KO. Takashi Sato by KO. Hugh Pulley by KO. I don't know who. The only person that I know out of those ones was Takashi Sato and Matthew Semmelsberger. He did beat Cole Williams by triangle choke in the second round. I don't know, man. I'm gonna pick Barbarina on that one. I can't trust somebody's chin that's been KO'd that much, and he's been KO'd by people that aren't really like that great of fighters. Matthew Semmelsberger is actually pretty good. He's decent, and I think that was actually a fighter that he fought that was actually pretty good. Semmelsberger has decent hands. He hits hard. He's got pretty good cardio. Yeah. Next fight, Sam Alvey, Smiling Sam, dude, versus Roman Kopylov. I don't know too much about Roman Kopylov. I know he has 7 KO wins, 1 submission loss, and that was in his last fight by rear naked choke. He lost in the 3rd round to Carl Robertson. I don't know if I watched that fight in particular. I have to go back and see if I watched it. Their name kind of rings a bell a little bit. I feel like I've seen him fight a few times, not just with Carl Robertson, but other fighters as well. Seems like he packs a punch. But like I said, I have to go back and watch. I haven't studied too much of Roman Kopylov. I do know a lot about Sam Alvey. He has a shitload of fucking fights. I feel like he should be retiring by now. He has 33 wins, 15 losses, and 1 draw. He's pretty much fought a lot of people in this division. Yeah, man, he's got 19 KOs, 3 sub wins, 3 KO losses, 2 sub losses. He's on a 6-fight. Okay, he's on a 5-fight losing streak and a draw. Technically, he's on a 1-fight losing streak because the draw split up all the losses. But basically, to me, he's on a 6-fight losing streak. He lost to Julian Marquez, Da Un Jung, Ryan Spann, Clayton Abreu, Jimmy Crute, Antonio Rogero Nogueira. His last win was in 2018 versus Jean Vellante by split decision. If you're going a split decision with Jean Vellante, yeah, he hits hard, but he has horrible fucking cardio. Horrible footwork. He gets hit a lot. He beat Marcin Prashnio by KO. Okay, I'm not going to say that's decent because Prashnio has been KO'd about 4 times. Yeah, man. I mean, Sam Alvey, he most of his losses are by decisions, but he is declining a lot. He's never really going to be a top 10, top 15 kind of fighter. He's on his way out. 10 decision losses is not horrible to have considering how many fights he has. He's only been KO'd 3 times. He's never been submitted. Actually, I take that back. He has been submitted. Sorry, 2 submission losses. The last fight that he fought, Julian Marquez, he got submitted by Marquez by a rear naked choke. But I mean, that's not bad. Two submission losses out of how many fights? Fuck, that's not bad at all. It seems like people try to take Sam Alvey down. Usually they can't. He's kind of a wide body. He's pretty tall. He's 6'2". Yeah, man. I'm gonna pick Kopylov on this one. But Sam Alvey, I don't know, man. You count him out. He's another one of these fighters, kind of like Darren Elkins, where they can just take a shitload of fucking punches. Darren Elkins can take a shitload. He's on another level. But Sam Alvey can take a punch, and he can give a punch as well, but he tends to back himself into the cage. And I don't really like picking fighters that do that. We've seen that with Andre Ewell, of course, in this last weekend's fights where he just backs himself into the cage and they're looking for a counter strike. I just feel like that's a horrible game plan. I feel like if you're backing up, you can't produce as much power as if you were moving forward. There is a lot of good counter strikers that just know how to counter strike, and they don't probably need the most power in their punches. They just connect real precise. Conor McGregor's a great counter striker. There's a bunch of good counter strikers, but I just feel like Sam Alvey, he's a good counter striker, and he hits pretty hard. He could definitely knock out Kopylov, and this could be a great underdog pick. But at the same time, I'm gonna pick Kopylov. He's younger. He's probably hungry. He's got 7 KO wins. I could definitely see him knocking Sam Alvey out within the first 2 rounds or going to decision and winning a UD. Yeah, that's my pick for that one. Next one, Kyung Ho Kang versus Ronnie Yaya. Goddamn, man, what's up with all these old fucking fighters? Oh my gosh, they need to do. I don't get how they're cutting some of these other fighters, and then they just keep these old timers around. Like, I understand at the same time, like certain fighters, I guess, that have been in the UFC, that they get paid more and they're probably ready to, if they're on a losing streak, like Yoel Romero, that's why he got cut, is because they were probably paying him a shitload, but then he kept losing. So there's no point in keeping him around, pretty much. I don't know. Some of the fighters that have been cut from the UFC shouldn't have been cut, and some of the fighters that are in the UFC definitely need to be cut. I don't know. It's just getting kind of ridiculous. Ronnie Yaya, 27-10 record, 1 draw. He beat Ray Rodriguez by arm triangle choke in the 2nd round. Went to a draw with Enrique Barzola. Ricky Simone, he lost UD. That was his last loss. Luke Sanders, he beat by submission heel hook. I mean, we all know what Ronnie Yaya is coming to do, man. He's coming to get a submission win. He has 0 KO wins. He's a submission specialist. He has 21 submission wins, 2 KO losses, 7 decision losses, and 1 sub loss. He mainly loses by decision, and he mainly wins by submission. So that's going to be his game plan. He tends to gas out at times. He's good for about 2 rounds, and after that, I feel like if you stuff his takedowns and you actually make him stand and bang, he's just a one-dimensional fighter, and if you force him to fucking stand up with you, he's not gonna do shit. Plain and simple. He has 0 KOs out of every single one of his fights he's had. He has no KOs. It's pretty insane, actually. Usually at least I mean, even as a submission specialist, Damian Maia, for instance, he has a few KOs. Like, there, even as a submission specialist, I feel like you should gotta have at least one TKO victory on your record. If you don't have any, dude, you're just a one-trick pony. You're a one-dimensional fighter, and you're probably a boring fighter, honestly. It's called mixed martial arts. This isn't a fucking grappling submission match, dude. It's cool that you can submit people, but at the same time, you got to have some kind of stand-up. You've been in the UFC for how long? You're how old? Fucking almost 40. Or maybe he is 40. Fuck, I don't even know. 36 years old. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm gonna rock with Kyung Ho Kang, or whatever his name is. He's got 11 submission victories himself. He has 2 KO wins, 5 decision losses, 1 KO loss, 1 submission loss. He has less fights than Ronnie Yaya, but he has a lot of submission wins as well. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. 2 split decisions his last fight. Brandon Michael Davis and Pyongyang Liu. And Teruta Ishihara, he beat by rear naked chokes. So, I mean, yeah, his last loss was to Ricardo Ramos by split decision, and Ricardo Ramos is actually a really good striker, so that's not a bad loss to have, and he's actually really good on the ground as well. So I think Kyung Ho Kang could probably fight him off, fight Ronnie Yaya's submissions off, and possibly get a submission himself or a TKO victory within the second round when Yaya gasses out. That's my prediction for that one. Yeah, man, and I think he has a reach advantage as well. So Kyung Ho's 5'9". Yaya, oh my god, dude, it's 5'6", 6-inch reach advantage. Yeah, I gotta pick Kyung Ho Kang on this one. I think he'll get the job done. Next fight, man, this card's kind of whack, honestly. Like I said, they just threw together fucking fights overnight. They didn't even really think about it. They were like, oh, it's just Sean Strickland and Uriah Hall. They don't really need too many good fights on their card. Let's just put all these bums on here for them. Nah, I'm just fucking around. But yeah, no, this fight card is not going to be that good. Or it could be the complete opposite. You always think the great fight cards are great, and then they end up being shitty, and the horrible fight cards end up being really good. So, Gloria De Paula versus Cheyenne Buys, 5-2 versus 5-3 record. 5'3" versus 5'5". Gloria De Paula. Damn, she has a 4-inch reach advantage. So that's, yeah, almost a 5-inch reach advantage. That's pretty fucking good. Gloria De Paula, who did she fight last? I can't remember. Let me look. Jin Yu Fry, and she lost by UD. That Jin Yu Fry's tough, but Jin Yu's kind of old. She got into the UFC at a later time. I don't know. I don't feel like that's a really good. I don't feel like that's a good loss to have on your record, especially on your debut. Even though she did put up a decent fight. Yeah, man, this is gonna be a toss-ems one. I think 4 decision wins for fucking Cheyenne Buys, 1 KO / TKO win, 2 decision losses. She lost her debut as well versus Montserrat Ruiz. She just kept getting taken down by that same headlock throw, that judo shit. And I don't get how you get taken down 7 or 8 times by the same fucking throw. Like, you don't have any kind of defense. You don't have any kind of base, any like center of gravity to where you can stop somebody from taking you down the exact same time, unless they're just super fucking strong. If you're going against somebody like Khabib, and it's inevitable, he's going to take you down regardless of what you're good at. He's going to take you down. He's going to double leg you, or he's going to switch to a single leg and take you down. But the other girl kept doing the same fucking throw, the same headlock fucking little judo throw that she was doing. I couldn't believe that she was getting it that much, honestly, because that's something you do, like, you pull off maybe once or twice in a real fight, but you don't pull it off 6 or 7 times, or 5 or 6 times, however many times it was. So yeah, I think I'm gonna roll with Gloria De Paula. 5-2 versus 5-3. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Gloria De Paula on this one. But Cheyenne Buys did fight a better opponent. She fought fucking that Montserrat Ruiz or whatever, the girl that just got KO'd viciously 2 weekends ago. So she did fight a better opponent, I think. I think she's better than Jin Yu. So, I mean, that's a fucking tough one to call. I really don't know. Fucking flip a coin. Shit, I'm going to stay away from that one for my parlays. But yeah, I'll pick De Paula as an underdog as a plus 165. Cheyenne buys. I'm interested to see what you guys think of that fight, because that's a really, I don't know, I feel like that's a tricky one to call. Next fight, Shamil Abdulrahmoth versus Chris Dawkis. I'm rocking with Chris Dawkis, rank 7 versus rank 10. Shamil's going to want to get him to the ground, probably try to ground and pound or get a submission victory somehow. And we all know what Chris Dawkis is going to do. He's coming out to bang. He's coming out to fuck you up. He's coming out to take your fucking head off. Chris Dawkis has an 11-3 record. Shamil has a 20-5 record, way more fight experience. He's another one of these guys from Dagestan, so you know he's going to have the Sambo in his back pocket. 9 KO/TKO wins, 4 sub wins, 3 KO losses. Like I've said in other videos, I don't like to see fighters with like more than 3 KO losses in their fucking, especially if they're flatline KOs. If they're actual KO where they're just out cold, like when Aljo got slept by fucking Moraes, where his whole body just like seized up. Yeah, if you have more than 2 or 3 of those, dude, probably shouldn't be fighting anymore. TKO loss, it's not as bad. You weren't out cold. You didn't black out or anything crazy, so I don't think those are as bad. Yeah, you just got beat. But he did. Shamil's coming off of a loss to Curtis Blades by TKO elbows and punches in the second round. He was on a 3-fight winning streak before that. A KO and a TKO versus Marcin Tybura and Chase Sherman. Those aren't really the greatest fighters, but Marcin Tybura actually is. He's improved a lot, and Chase Sherman looked like he actually improved when he got cut from the UFC. Won a few fights and came back, and he looked like he got a lot better too. And then he won a UD versus Andrei Arlovsky. He lost to Derek Lewis by KO in the 4th round, TKO. Beat Walt Harris. He beat Anthony Hamilton. So he has some pretty good wins. He lost to Timothy Johnson in 2015 by TKO. Yeah, man, I'm rolling with Chris Dawkis. As long as Dawkis can keep the fight standing and he can defend the takedowns, which I think he can. This dude's a big guy. He's a wide body as well. He's gotten in tremendous shape compared to, if you go on ShareDog and look at his picture from ShareDog compared to his fucking what he looks like now, it's fucking crazy. Before he got to the UFC, he was frumpy, dude. Just super flabby. Didn't look like he's ever done a sit-up or a plank in his life. 10 KO wins, but he got hands though. He's got quick fucking hands for a heavyweight. His hands are quick, dude. They're actually quicker than some middleweights that I've seen. This dude's got really quick hands. He's probably not even. I don't even know if he's really even supposed to be a heavyweight. I don't know if he's in. He is 6'2". He's 234. He could probably get to light heavyweight if he really wanted to cut the weight. But yeah, he has 10 KO wins, 2 KO losses, and 1 submission loss. This was on a 4-fight winning streak in the UFC. He hasn't lost yet in the UFC. That worries me, because when we see these fighters that are undefeated, he's not undefeated, but when you see these fighters that are undefeated, or a fighter that comes in the UFC and just does great for the first 3, 4, 5 fights, they end up just, something happens. I don't know what happens, but they end up getting their first loss. And sometimes they never come back to being who they were before. So it's kind of interesting to see like that mental aspect of it, like if they can regain their self after a loss, especially if it's a brutal fucking like KO loss or something like that. But he beat Danny Holmes on his debut. He beat Parker Porter. Man, that guy was so out of shape in that last fight. He hits hard though for a heavyweight, but I don't know. I feel like heavyweights get away with being out of shape. I feel like if you're heavyweight, I feel like you should still be in shape. He beat Rodrigo Nascimento, and he beat Alexei Olenek in his last fight, which was that's actually a really good win to have, because actually Nascimento Nascimento, he just got a win. He's not a great fighter, but it's still a good win to have, because we know what the last 2, they keep matching Chris Dawkis up with people that are going to try to grapple with him. They want to see if he can grapple. And he stuffs these guys takedowns, and he pieces them up with 2, 3, 4, 5 combination, and then they're done. He's got quick hands for a heavyweight. He's heavy-handed as well, and he's got decent footwork. So I'm rolling with Chris Dawkis. I mean, he's probably going to get the job done. I think he's going to get a KO victory on this one. Shamil's got a chin though. He's definitely. I mean, he does have the 3 KO/TKO losses, and he's ranked number 7. He's fought some really good opponents, and he has a chin. So Chris Dawkis, but I think Chris Dawkis is going to put him to sleep. And who is the underdog in this one? They don't have odds for that yet. Wow. Interesting. At least they don't have him on the UFC website. Okay. Interesting stuff. Next fight, the main fucking event. Uriah Hall, plus 175. That's actually a really good underdog pick. Plus 175 is not bad. Ranked number 8. I'm actually surprised it's not closer. I'm surprised he's not a plus 100 and Sean Strickland's not a negative 120 or something like that. Sean Strickland's ranked number 11. He's coming back up the ranks. He was gone for a while. He had like that motorcycle accident or whatever it was. Yeah, I'm rocking with Sean Strickland. He looks great at this weight class, man. When he was fighting that fucking welterweight dude, he looked. I'm not gonna say he looked unhealthy. He just really, he kind of did look a little unhealthy, I guess, because he looked sucked up. You don't want to see the fighters look sucked up. It's when you look sucked up, I just feel like it's easier to KO you. You don't have as much water protecting you for your body. I mean, when we're 65% water, then you probably shouldn't be cutting that much water out of your diet before you're gonna go fight somebody. So. I don't know. I think fighting at your natural weight class, they need to do some kind of rule where you can only cut up to like 15 pounds max, and make people actually fight at their weight class, their natural weight classes. And they need to do the fucking. I don't get why they do. So they do the 125 class, 135 class, 145 class, 155, but then they bump up to 170, 185. It doesn't make sense. It should be the opposite way. So if you're gonna get heavier, there should be more. There should be less wiggle room for the weight. In my own opinion, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's backwards. There's a lot of shit in the UFC that's backwards. But they need to have a 165 class, 175, 185, 195, 205, and then they need to have the heavyweight that goes up to like, I don't know, maybe it goes up to 260 where it's already at, but then they need to have a super heavyweight class where it's like fucking Samoan, not Samoan, but like sumo wrestlers fucking fighting and shit, where it's like 300-pound Bob Saps in there and shit. That would be pretty entertaining to watch. Shit, it'd be entertaining to watch like a fucking, I don't know. I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say. But yeah, I'm picking Sean Strickland. I'm picking Tarzan. The dude's gritty as fuck, dude. He walks all of his opponents down. He doesn't care about really getting hit. But at the same time, he doesn't even have cauliflower ear like that. If you look at his pictures, he doesn't get hit a lot. He has 10 KO wins, 4 sub wins, 9 decision wins. He only has 1 KO loss. The dude only has 1 KO loss. This is what I like to see. Sean Strickland's got a fucking chin, dude. I'm telling you, and he's got really good boxing fundamentals. He keeps his hands up real tight. He uses his elbow to block shots and shit. He knows what he's doing. He's on a 4-fight winning streak since coming back. TKO Nordine Talib, that was vicious. Beat Jack Marshman and he was talking shit to him. Wasn't even tired after the fight. Beat Brendan Allen, TKO'd him in the second round. That was another vicious one. Beat Krzysztof Jotko, the nut hugger. He just likes to fucking just hold you the whole time. Doesn't even really do much ground and pound. When he first got in the UFC, he did a shitload of ground and pound Jotko, and he stuck with his wrestling fundamentals. Then he tried to be a striker, was getting pieced up a lot. Then he went back to being a wrestler, and so on. And now he just nut hugs. So I like wrestlers that do ground and pound, or they work for submissions. I don't like wrestlers that just try to win off of fucking controlling time control or something like that, because it's not realistic in a street fight. It would never work. It would never work. It just wouldn't. You try to hold me, I'm gonna bite the fuck out of you. It's not gonna happen. There's no rules in a street fight. That's the difference between UFC and a street fight. Is like the submission specialists and all these guys that try to hold you and shit. Oh, that ain't gonna work, dude. Someone's gonna bite you. They're gonna bite the fuck out of you or do something like that. Like, I don't know. I just don't feel like that shit. I don't feel like. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but I don't feel like that shit's like really should count as a win if you just have control time, but you're not doing any kind of damage. I guess that's a perfect example of the yesterday's fight versus Corey Sandhagen and TJ Dillashaw. Sandhagen had no damage, but Corey posted something about how he won the damage aspect of the fight, but he lost the control aspect of the fight. And when he puts it in that terms, Corey definitely should have won. But like I said, it could have been 3-2 any one of them. But I'm kind of going back on what I'm saying right now is the control time shouldn't mean as much as the damage. I think the damage should mean a lot more than the control time. And Sean Strickland is, I'm going way off topic on this particular fight that I'm talking about, but Sean Strickland's a fucking savage. He'll fuck anybody up pretty much in that division. especially when it comes to just striking, because he doesn't care about getting hit. He'll take a hit and he'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4 piece combination. Uriah Hall, we know what he is. He's prime time, and they call him prime time for a reason, because he has some crazy acrobatic just types of finishes. The dude has 13 KOs, super fucking explosive. He's improved so much since being in the UFC, since he first got in the UFC. 1 submission win, 4 KO losses. That kind of sucks to see that. I don't really like to see a fighter that has 4 KO losses. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Both of them are on 4-fight win streak. This is going to be crazy. He beat Bevon Lewis by KO in the 3rd round. He beat Antonio Carlos Jr. by split decision. Shouldn't have, I don't know. That split decision is not really that good versus Carlos Jr. Anderson Silva TKO'd him. That was sad to watch. I don't like watching Anderson Silva fight anymore, because it just seems like he keeps getting his ass beat. And I don't want to see the GOAT of the UFC and mixed martial arts get his ass beat like that. And then Chris Weidman, we all seen what happened with him. He broke his leg from a check to kick. Yeah, this is hard, man. Uriah Hall doesn't do good under pressure. And what I mean by that, I don't mean the pressure of the fight. I mean the actual pressure in the ring, in the cage. When he gets backed up, he's not as good when he's backing up compared to when he's moving forward. When he takes the center of the octagon, he's great. But when he backs up, like a lot of these fighters tend to do, he freezes up sometimes. And then, like, sometimes it works for him and he can counter strike like he did with Anderson Silva. But other times he'll get slept right against the cage. And we kind of seen that with the Paulo Costa, how Paulo Costa pressured him and fucked him up. And this is what Sean Strickland's going to do. Sean Strickland's going to want to pressure him, and he's going to want to just beat the shit out of him close to the cage. And the thing is, Sean Strickland actually has really good submissions as well. So, I mean, Uriah Hall does have a 3.5 inch reach advantage. They both have a really high percentage of KO rate. Uriah Hall takes a good amount. I'm not gonna say a lot more, but he takes a good amount of punishment in his fights sometimes. Sean Strickland's, I don't know, he wears the damage a lot better than Uriah Hall does, and I just don't feel like Hall has the greatest chin in the world. So they both have high takedown defense. This is most likely gonna